Today we're working on this 1968 Chevy C10. This has a 250 cubic inch or 4.1 liter engine. It's probably the most common engine in these trucks. I'm doing a tremendous amount of work to this truck, so click the subscribe button to see all the videos as I post them on this thing. Just finished up the new fuel system, complete new fuel system from the tank to the carburetor. Everything brand new. That video will be coming out. I did all new brake system on this thing. So today we're working on a radiator, and you can see it's got some wet spots on it. It's just been kind of weeping. This truck does not run, or has not run, in about 25 years, so we're getting really close to getting it running though. And I thought I'd go ahead and just put a new radiator in it. There are no repair shops anymore that I know of, so that's sort of out of the question. The usual places that sell a direct replacement for this, you know, LMC Truck, you know, CJ Pony Parts, those sort of online sellers, $380 or thereabouts for a new radiator. So of course I bounce over to Amazon like everybody else does. I think I got this thing for about $130. I'll see if I can put a link in the description of the video. So yeah, of course if you're watching this video, you know, years in the future, the link probably ain't gonna work, so keep that in mind. But anyhow, I pulled it out of the box. The box had some damage, so I wanted to make sure that the radiator was not damaged, and it looks good. So I sort of stuck it in there. It's not just gonna bolt right up, so we're gonna have to do some modification. All right, so here's what I've come up with. I've been racking my brain, and I've spent hours trying to figure out the best way to mount this radiator given the limitations. So what I came up with, I'm going to put a 1-inch spacer. That's a piece of tubing. I'm going to put 2 of them in. That tubing is 1 inch by 2 inch. Then I'm using this rubber that I ordered off of Amazon. I got a whole sheet of it. It's like 12 by 24. It's laying under the radiator. It's 3/8 thick. And it's the firmness rating or squishiness rating is a 50A durometer. I probably, if I had it to order again, I'd probably go with a 60A durometer. So you guys that are looking, this is 3/8 inch thick. Probably should be using a 60A durometer. But I've drilled the radiator, the bottom of the radiator is not sealed. You can see even the welding, you know, it's not sealed here. In fact, they put a couple of studs in, you know, them riv nuts or whatever. I won't use those, but I drilled a couple of big holes here and just wallered them out so that I could slide a nut in here. And then there's my 5/16 hole that I drilled up from the bottom. So I'm going to drop this radiator. I've got a couple of rubber chunks cut with holes already in them. So here's my rubber sort of isolator. I'll set that. I actually did drill through the truck. This is the first modification that I made to the truck. I mean, down the road if it's an issue I can always weld up that little hole. But so I'm going to put my spacer on there, put my rubber block on there, drop the radiator on, and put the bolt up from the bottom. And I'm going to have to be real particular with the length of bolt that I use, because I definitely don't want the bolt running long and running up into the working part of the radiator. So again, I've said it in other videos, if you guys don't have a bolt bin like this with an assortment of bolts, you really should think about it. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the radiator back in there, crawl up under it, push a couple of bolts up through, line up my block, my rubber chunk, and I'll be using Teflon lock nuts. Because this rubber's got so much give, you just can't torque it down, you know, you'll just squish the heck out of the rubber. So I'll you know, snug it up, and then the Tef nut will keep the nut from working itself back off. So I'm going to go ahead and these are the bolts that I'm going to try to use for now. I don't know, what is that, maybe a 2-inch bolt. Probably end up stepping up to another 1/4, 1/2 inch longer, but I'm going to try these first, make sure they're not too long to get up inside there. I'll show you guys what it looks like once I get it in there. Well, we got the radiator in there. Let me show you guys what I had to do, because it's been a while since that last little clip here, and I'm not entirely certain what you've seen. So I think I showed you how I sort of drilled into the base of the radiator. Of course, this is the top. I did the same thing at the top and the bottom initially. So you can see I've got it, a bolt, then a chunk of that rubber. I cut that rubber with a hole saw, picked like a 1-inch diameter, and just used the slug as my rubber bushing there. And then on the inside, you can see I've got it bolted down from the top, and then a Tef nut on the inside. So I was able to do that on the top, and I was trying to do that on the bottom, but I couldn't get the bolts. I just couldn't get enough clearance down there for my hands, and I couldn't see what I was doing. So I ended up sort of wallering out the hole on the bottom vertically, where I could drop my bolt in the radiator and then down through the rubber bushing and my mounting block. So again, it's got a 1-inch block, that then rubber bushing, and then the radiator sitting on that. So I feel like I've got it well supported on the bottom, and then the top was a whole lot simpler to figure out. So the top, I'm trying to make it look not janky, for lack of a better word. I don't know what the word here would be. I don't want to look like, jerry-rigged in here or whatever. So this was the original mounting positions, these two holes here. I drilled a hole in the doghouse here because, of course I can't mount right here with the edge of the radiator. So I shifted over, got myself a piece of 3/8 inch wide plate, and it was like 1.25 inches, bent it on a little bit of an angle because the radiator isn't quite tall enough to be flush here. So I put it in a vise, bent it down a little bit, drilled 2 plates that are symmetrical. So this one, I guess I started with this plate. This is the one I got my dimensions off of and everything, because this one uses the original mounting holes and hardware. So then I, made another plate, trying to keep things symmetrical. And again, I drilled through the doghouse here, used the original bolt, just in an effort to keep everything symmetrical. Original bolt, but I put a nut on the bottom. This is a 3/8 16 or whatever that coarse thread is. So just a nut up from underneath. And then, of course, you saw what I did to mount it up here. So the thing fit pretty good. I had to, again, I really had to watch how high I blocked it up. That's why I only used a 1-inch spacer, because I don't want it to be so tall that it interferes with the hood. And right now I am, I think, 1/8 or 1/4 inch taller than the original radiator, but I think I'll be all right. So mounting it up was kind of a bear, but that was the worst of it for sure. The hose, the overflow hose, I put a new piece of 5/16 fuel line down there just because the old one was sort of dry rot, and that went right in, no problem. The lower radiator hose, you can see I've got it, clamped right on there. That hose, the angle of the radiator spout could have been a little better, but I mean, I'm nitpicking now. Essentially, that hose went right on. And I'm actually even reusing the same clamps. I want to, again, I don't want to make this thing radical looking. Up here, this hose, it fell right on, no problems at all. Reusing the same old hose, no issues there. So overall, I mean, it looks good. The mounting doesn't look real weird. Of course, I put this plate back on again. That bolts in behind this latch bracket here. So that, I mean, even looking up under there, that'll give you an idea of, those rubber bumpers there. Those are just about in contact. They might be kind of contacting where they were contacting the original one, or just about. So it really looks good in there. I mean, it looks not that much different than the original one. And, we saved like, oh shoot, I'd have to look at the numbers again. I want to say, I think we saved $250 doing it this way. it was kind of a pain fabricating the little brackets to mount it, you know, buying the rubber and all that stuff. It sure would have been a whole lot simpler just to drop in a direct replacement, but for 250 bucks, it's worth fighting a little bit. So I got a lot to do yet to get this thing running, so I'm not going to show you guys, you know, the truck running. Click the subscribe button, and I'll be posting more videos. Hopefully, I will have this thing running in the next, maybe in the next week or so. If you like this video, click that thumbs up button. I know I'm not entertaining, guys, but I'm just trying to help the next guy. If you're looking to replace the radiator in your C10 and you really don't want to spend 380 bucks, this might help you. So I hope I helped you. Click that thumbs up button if you liked it. If you want to see more videos of this truck or other stuff out here in the shop, click the subscribe button. Till the next time, keep on tinkering.